Access Economics looked at the costs of cancer for a report for Cancer Council of New South Wales in 2005. We looked not just at the health system expenditures that are due to cancer, but also to the productivity losses that people can face themselves, so their loss of earnings when they're off work for extended periods of time and possibly permanently. And the main costs of cancer are those productivity losses, the cost to the individual that they suffer, as well as, of course, the out-of-pocket costs that they face as a result of expenditures that weren't anticipated.
The financial impact is so intimate. I mean, I can barely use my language to explain it.
John's always been a really hard worker, so he's like really looked after us as a family and stuff, and for it to be so sudden, there was no warning signs or anything like that. It was just completely out of the blue, and so yeah, our whole, everything, but especially the financial side of things was just thrown,
I guess just suddenly losing your income like that and not having any insurance around income loss suddenly and all the rest of it was a challenge just to meet living expenses and stuff. So it took us a little while to get sorted in that.
Because I was casual, so we don't get sick leave, but we get a higher rate. But so we had savings and stuff like that, but with no sick leave or anything like that. So
it was just one day it stopped happening, and that day he stopped getting paid.
So the average cost that people can face across all different forms of cancer is about $114,500 in terms of the total loss financially. That's for every case of cancer, and it's across society. Of that, the individual in any given year would bear about $48,000 worth of the cost, and about $9,000 of that would be out of pocket. So there's a substantial cost for each person. For example, that $114,500 is over 2 times average earnings for an individual.
Yeah, you just never know where the next lot of money is coming from, and you don't. We're actually going along to appointments with specialists and thinking, I wonder if this is going to cost us, or is this covered by Medicare? And because it's all new, we didn't know anything about that, so we would turn up to a specialist appointment and they would go, oh yeah, that's $300, thank you, and we'd be like, oh okay, here's the credit card, and not knowing whether you can get some back from Medicare. They give you a piece of paper back, and then you go to Medicare with your fingers crossed thinking, hopefully we can get some back.
Deciding whether or not to spend the money on the supplements or on the treatments was really stressful, because it was holding back. As I say, I had to weigh up whether it was the supplements were worth it or my life. Was my life worth that? And that created a whole emotional journey too, because I had to start stepping up and saying, you know what, my life is worth it.
There were a number of different types of out-of-pocket expenses. So obviously there are the gaps that you can face within the health system itself, but there are also expenses that people don't anticipate that they have to go out and purchase. So there would be prosthetic costs for prostheses, and costs for even things like scarves that you have to put around your head if you've had radiotherapy or chemotherapy and that's caused a loss of hair.
Yeah, I've got this splint, and we've had to hire that wheelchair. I've had to get crutches. I've had to get a boot made for when I go to sleep, because otherwise this foot here will stay up like this, but this one here will stay up here like that because of the sheet. We'll just lay on it.
And I've got to try and find that $33.30. That's only for one, and I've got heaps of them. I'm thinking, so what do, instead of my blood pressure tablets, I'm supposed to take them every day, I skip them. I'll take one that night, then I'll miss Tuesday, and then take that one, then my cholesterol ones and antidepressants, because I want antidepressants. So as to make them stretch out longer.
Yeah, we get the pension rate for scripts and things like that, which has helped enormously, but there's about 16 different pills mum's on, and it adds up, I suppose, over time, but the pension discount helps that. But I guess it adds up. It's a fair bit of money. Some of the Clexane, we're really lucky to get that on the pension, because otherwise I think it's about $300 a box.
Well, that's right. And so, another cost for us was to put Max into daycare, which is $100 a day, and just it adds up, and before you know it, you finally get onto a pension, but most of that is sucked up by things like that.
Quick. Yeah. And the days that he did go to daycare were the days that we tried to make all our appointments, so just so that we, you know, so it would make things a little bit easier.
But specialists only work on certain days and stuff.
Yeah.
Another thing though is parking near the hospital. You can pay, if I have to go to the hospital, I have to go every week to get chemotherapy. Then if I have to go another day to have a blood test, the day before I have chemo, that can cost $50 just to park. And when you're on Centrelink and you get not quite $600 a fortnight and half of that is on your rent, $50 is a lot of money.
Just for parking?
Yeah.
For something we don't have a choice for. You have to be there, you have to go.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've also had a lot of costs with travelling. Even though we live sort of in Sydney, just on the outskirts, we have had to drive about a 40-minute drive for daily radiation treatment for John for 6 weeks initially, every day. And currently we're just doing a sort of 3-week stint as well. So the petrol cost in there is another cost again.
So some people have obviously been earning maybe $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 per annum. Their whole family income may be under $100,000 per annum. Typically 30 to 40% of that might be committed in terms of mortgage payments and car repayments and capital items. When they cease earning, all those payments still need to be made, and it can be a huge issue for families how to meet those obligations.
My main concern is rent, because I've always paid that on time. I never want to get behind in my rent. And obviously I don't want to say to my kids, oh look, I can't afford to live here anymore. I'd have to move to government housing, or you know, I have to uproot years old. And we couldn't do it now. I'm too ill to be packing up home and moving somewhere so we can afford to live.
And particularly when you're proud too, because you don't like asking for help. When we've never had the dole or whatever it is, the unemployment, or we've never had any support from the government before. We've always been a very proud family, haven't we? We make do ourselves, and all of a sudden sort of say, oh, we need help here with working some of this out. And
yeah, exactly. Like work for me, I feel that I've got quite a good work ethic, and that and I've worked hard since I've been here, and I've worked a fair bit, and probably more to the point where even Amanda and Max have actually missed out because I've worked so much. So I don't want to kind of, not too sure how to say it, like go and then have them miss out on everything that they deserve, if you know what I mean.
I always try not to make it too obvious to the boys. So if they're got a couple of friends over and they want a video and a pizza occasionally, you know, that's our holiday, that's it. But then there can be nothing.
And coming up to Christmas, you don't want to I don't know if this is going to be my last Christmas, and I don't want it to be my worst one either. You know, I don't want to say to the kids, I can't afford to buy you anything.
But there's other times where you're just so overwhelmed and think every single solitary bill or debt everything is always, it's like a schedule in your head, and it never leaves you, and it's in everything. It's in everything you do, from the minute you open your eyes, from the minute you flick off your light at night. It never leaves you.
So for many people, when they have their diagnosis, they're not aware of what their entitlements might be. We've been talking about, you know, there's this huge financial impasse that they're suddenly facing, where they've lost income, got all these out-of-pocket expenses. The last thing they're probably going to prioritise is professional advice, accounting advice or legal advice, because that to them is, well, we need to pay the mortgage first. However, if that advice can be provided, it can make a huge difference to the lives and the affairs of people with cancer. Early intervention in particular can enable them to have the access to income or to sources of income to which they are entitled, but maybe didn't know that they were entitled.